everyone, and hello, and good day, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hi, mga arthritis warriors. I'm Dr. Jonathan Flordelis. You can call me Dr. Joff. And today we are shifting our little page to a general bone health awareness. So, just the other day, I was thinking my parents, my family is not getting any younger. And what specifically I mean is that they're at risk. My parents are at risk for bone issues, bone fractures. They have already been through different surgeries, and I don't want to go into detail, but when it happened that my mother fell, I got scared, and it is not a usual fear because when my kids fall, it's all well and good. They get up again. My mother, when she fell, she called me, and then when I picked up the phone, I was scared because at her age, I was afraid that she might have a bone fracture, bone injury. Luckily, I'm glad she didn't have any bone issues, no fractures on the X-ray, but it got me scared. And I want to share this awareness on bone and joint health, especially in post-menopausal women. Women post-menopausal, or maybe you are going through perimenopausal symptoms. Some women may be having aches on their shoulders, not just the usual hot flashes and mood swings. A lot of the body is inflamed when that happens, and later you suddenly get hit by a truck, meaning you feel so different, so weak. A lot of the bone health in women is because of the hormone estrogen. And once this estrogen is gone, we need to do something to improve bone health in women. And when I see patients in the hospital, and these patients are usually ladies, women are the majority of hip fracture patients. And almost every week, there's approximately two per hospital. And I mean, in one hospital, there are two patients who get a hip replacement because of osteoporosis and hip fractures. Let's try to avoid this. Let's try to share an awareness on bone health and osteoporosis. And it made me think, what can I do? What can I do so that my mother, my parents, and of course, my family and friends can benefit? And that's why I am doing this live on bone health and osteoporosis. So, if you know someone who is going through menopause or perimenopausal symptoms, or who has been diagnosed with osteoporosis, osteopenia, comment below bone health and let me know where you are from. Are you from Cebu City, Philippines? That's where I'm sharing this live. Again, I'm Dr. Jonathan Flordelis, and you can call me Dr. Joff, a hip and knee specialist here in Cebu City. And we want to share with everyone an awareness on bone and joint health, specifically about osteoporosis and what we can do in the area of health and fitness. How can we help? And what are the real world studies that are saying this is something that you can do for your mother, your aunt, your friend who has osteoporosis? Because I kid you not, one of the things that happened earlier last year was I had my first male osteoporotic fracture in a 40-year-old man. And that's right, that's 40. I needed to know why he fractured his hip after a ground level fall. And I did what is called a DEXA scan to check for his bone mineral density, or the strength of the bone. and his bone mineral density was at 1.5, and it is actually a level of osteoporosis. I think it was a negative 1.5 that gives his bone mineral density test a positive for osteoporosis. And that is why, after falling down, this 40-year-old guy had a hip fracture. Of course, we fixed his hip fracture and he's walking again, but osteoporosis is something that we need to be aware of. It can happen at my age, but more often, it is something that can affect a lot of patients, especially post-menopausal women. And these are women 50 years old and above. Right now, we're going to go deep on osteoporosis, and I'm going to share with you some of the studies, some of the things that I have been reading, because again, I wanted to learn more about this on how I can help my parents, my mother, and my family. So this is from the Journal of Geriatric Nursing, entitled "The Impact of Exercise on Bone Density in Older Adults." This is actually a very strong study. It is a meta-analysis. That means it is a group of studies bunched up together so we can get the gist of multiple high level studies. And this is the gist: exercise doesn't just make the bones stronger. We now understand how it works inside the body on a biological level. Exercise changes the body at a cellular level to improve bone strength. That means we need to load our bones in order to create stronger, dense bone. And in the muscles are uh, are myokines, which help modulate and send messages from the muscles to the bones. And when we talk about the bone metabolism during exercise, there is more building of muscles and bone during exercise. What you want to understand is there is also a cleanup of useless tissue, and that's why we have healthier bone cells, because there are cells that destroy the the trash, or we'll just call it trash. It's called a process of osteocytic autophagy. So it cleans up the bone cells that are not needed. This is the cycle of bone remodeling. A lot of the bone is resorbed. That means the bones grow weaker in old age. But if we exercise more, there is also more bone formation through the osteoblasts. So this time, this is very important because in the Philippines, we have a sort of mentality. It's called the bahala na mentality. Oh, I'm old. Oh, bahala na, matanda na po ako. So, pag matanda na, the bahala na mentality is bahala na ang Diyos. So, it's all up to God. Let God decide what's going to happen to me. But the bahala na mentality is also stopping a lot of our elderly patients from exercising, from taking control of your health. So if you have someone in your home who wants to be an active ager, not a senior, but an active ager who wants to grow bone, who wants to become stronger later in life, it is possible. But you have to let go of the bahala na philosophy and think, what exercise can I start doing today to improve my bone health? So, mga arthritis warriors, please like, follow, and share this with your friends. If you know someone who has osteoporosis, osteopenia, who is going through perimenopausal symptoms, aches and pains around their body, because we want to start early. We do not want to start exercising when you have weak bones. If possible, let's spread the awareness on bone and joint health. And I'm going to share with you another study, which is the effect of different exercise types on bone mineral density in post-menopausal women. And again, this is another systematic review and meta-analysis. The journal is a review article, and it's from the Calcified Tissue International and Musculoskeletal Research. And the date here is 2020. Again, it is looking at the different types of exercise. And so what can my parents do? What can mama, papa, lolo, and lola, those of you who have grandparents who you want to grow stronger, what exercises are important? What exercises can they do and what should they do? Because the type of exercise matters. And in this study, they're looking at the bone mineral density, the strength of the bones in the femur, which is frequently fractured in hips, which are osteoporotic. They're looking at dynamic resistance exercises, weight bearing exercises, and exercise combined with weight bearing and dynamic resistance. So, those are three different exercises, but all of them together reduced the fall chances for these postmenopausal patients. And of course, they reduced mortality because if you don't fall, you reduce the rates of hip fracture, and therefore, hip fractures are related to mortality. So, what what they're saying is all of these exercises are very good. So any of these exercises, where it's weight bearing, whether it's resistance, and combining them together, all of them reduce fall risk and all of them reduce mortality risk. But the very simple exercise that you or your parents can do, or your lolo or lola, what about walking? What about walking? How much steps should we do in a day? There is a study, and again, it's a study called the Association of Daily Steps with Mortality in US Adults. They're saying 8,000 steps or more is linked to a lower all mortality cause. So 8,000 steps is something that you want to strive for. That's the number of daily steps. This is a journal called The Lancet. It's a journal on public health. Another journal that says the daily steps and all cause mortality. This is a meta analysis. That means a bunch of high level studies of 15 international cohorts. So that means 15 different populations around the world. They're looking at the daily steps. Just walking reduces mortality. Even 4,000 steps can reduce mortality, but you want to aim for that 8,000 steps or more. Because the more steps you have greater reductions in death and cardiovascular risk. So definitely there is an association between the number of steps and the cardiovascular disease and all cause mortality, especially in older women. This is from the BMJ Journal, British Journal of Sports Medicine. And the gist is the same. It's about 7 to 10,000 steps reduces mortality by about 20 to 70%. Imagine that 7,000 steps reduces mortality to 20 to 70%. Walking is one of the biomarkers for survival. The more steps you can do, the lower the mortality, and the more steps, 7 to 10, you definitely have diminishing returns at higher levels. So, again, this is important. Walking is important. Resistance exercise, dynamic exercise, all very important to do because this can help your lolo, your lola, your parents if you can get them aware that instead of the bahala na attitude in the Philippines, you want to take control of your health. You want to tell them that, ma, pa, we need to exercise. You need to exercise because it is important that you enjoy life even at a later age. You don't want to stay at home being the senorito or the senorita and having everything handed to you. You want to work, you want to exercise, grow stronger bones, grow stronger muscles, avoid those nasty hip fractures that need surgery. And this is why I'm here to share with you the studies, my research that I've been doing. And these are the latest research. This next research is in 2026 from Arch Osteoporose in Springer, and it is entitled Reduced Walking Speed at Discharge Predicts Mortality After a Vertebral Fracture. So, if you slow down in your speed of walking, it actually predicts mortality. That means they are more likely to succumb or die if you are slower in your walking speed. So, walking, the steps you have, the more steps you do, 4,000 is good, but if you can get it to 8,000 steps or more, so much better for bone and joint health. But the speed of walking also matters. And there's so much evidence here in the Journal of Applied Physiology, Nutrition and Exercise. Another article is evidence based that the proposal for a new predictor of gait speed in elderly women. Definitely, the males are seen to be faster than the females, but slower walking speed, remember, at discharge predicts higher mortality. The slower the patient walks, the higher the chances something happens to them. Slow and inefficient walking is a shared pathway for osteoporosis, weak bones, and mortality. It means if you walk slowly, you've lost a lot of muscle, you've lost a lot of bone, you're at risk for more fractures and something more because the muscle is now known as the organ for longevity. The more muscle you have, especially lean muscle mass, that means you have a higher and longer chances of survival. The muscle decline, that means you are slower, and that's why slower gait speed means fragile bones. It also means higher mortality risk. If you are slower in walking, more chances of falls and more chances of something happening to you. So, what, Dr. Joff, is the ideal speed for our active agers? So, if you are someone who is wanting to get back into exercise and you feel step one is walking, this is the ideal speed for walking active agers. And this is from the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging. This is dated in February 2010. The gait speed at usual pace may be a predictor of adverse outcomes in community dwelling older people. So, the walking speed must be brisk but a safe speed for whoever your family member is. Brisk but safe. The rhythm is about 100 steps per minute is the goal. Remember, you may not be able to do the 100 steps per minute. Slowly do the walking first and progress later when you have stronger muscles, better balance, and it is efficient if you're doing 1 meter per second. That is the most efficient rate. This combination of speed and gait means your muscles are functioning and you are loading your bones. Always consult a healthcare professional if you have problem walking. If your relative has a problem walking, always check for the balance. Always check for with a rehab doctor, physical therapist, or an orthopedic near you, because you want to check if they are able to do a brisk walk that is safe. Remember, the key here is brisk but safe. We don't want to force patients to suddenly walk fast, especially if it is not their usual pace of walking. So, uh, ganahan lang ko na I want to share with you sa mga listeners, please, kailangan maglakad, kailangan kinahanglan mo lihok. If you are in Cebu, we need to move, we need to walk, and we want to turn a lot of our family members stronger, give this awareness on bone and joint health, on osteoporosis awareness. That's all the time I have for tonight. I'm Dr. Jonathan Flordelis, and you can call me Dr. Joff, a hip and knee specialist here in Cebu City. And this is a new segment that we will have. It will be on not just hip and knee pain, but also bone health. Much love and respect. Good evening to you all. If you have questions about osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, hip and knee pain, comment below where you are from and try to ask your questions. Hopefully, we will collect questions for the next live that we will be having. So, good evening, all, and have a happy Sunday if you are in the Philippines. Bye bye.